Hey, this is Adam. Just wanted to pop on here before we started today's conversation and tell you about a really exciting event that we're going to be a part of this fall, October 6th at Bound Bookshop in York, Pennsylvania. We are so excited to be participating in the book launch for Madison Tyler Nelson's Portrait of a Haunting. This is just an incredible book that I think so many people are going to really love and enjoy. So we are so excited, one, to have had a conversation with her that you'll hear on the pod, but also in person being part of the book launch on release day at Bound Bookshop in York. Tickets are free at boundbookshop.com, and we hope to see all of our friends in the Mid Atlantic area to come celebrate this really special book. All right, on to the conversation. Welcome back to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. We are so excited to welcome back Stephanie Rose, author of Small Town Slasher, coming out August 4th. Also, the owner and runner of Death by TBR Books, a place where you should be getting all of your horror books, and the editor of the awesome Twisted Tales anthologies. The second one just came out, and we have a Christmas one coming out soon, too, which is very exciting. Welcome back, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. It's so great to be here to chat with you guys.
A hell of an introduction. I mean, she's got a great bio and
She
backstory.
doesn't play.
I can tell. I mean, I remember, but yeah, absolutely. So
This is a titan in the horror book industry.
this is what I'm saying, right?
You know?
Well,
So
and I have a couple other things going on too that you didn't even mention, and that I'm
I
like, wow, I
know.
really am
Right.
doing a lot. Good for
come
me.
on,
Pat on the
Adam.
back.
Let's make sure we mention all of it.
That's true, because you got another book, Roadkill Revolution Tour, that will be coming out soon too, right?
That's actually going to be pushed to Trueborn Press has had a lot of things going on this year, and I'm so happy to work with them. But I think we're pushing it to spring. I was
Okay.
getting a little nervous. I hadn't heard from them, and when I was like, we're less than 3 months out to this, and I haven't heard anything even about the editing yet. So I kind of figured, being a small press owner myself, that it may get pushed. So it is. I think it's going to get pushed to spring. But I have another book coming out this fall instead, and it's a children's middle grade horror.
Yeah.
So
Oh
there's
my
that.
God.
Yeah.
I love the cover for that too. Yes.
Can you
That's
hold on a
gonna
minute
be
while
super
we
fun.
do the Wayne's World? We're not worthy.
Yeah, we're not worthy. Yeah, exactly. So
Oh my gosh, you guys are doing incredible things for the horror community. And Adam, your book, I haven't read it yet because it's so hard for me to read print. I mean, it's so hard for me to read without audiobooks. I do
Yep,
read
yep,
print
yep.
here and there,
I knew what you
but
meant.
I will read it. I need to get it from either you or Ingram. I will get a copy and read it because it's shorter, which I love. That's kind of
yeah.
like
I
my
love
new
a
thing is
novella.
like shorter books.
Yeah, it's the best. One that you can just dive in and tackle over.
Yeah.
This book is that he wrote is all about how to not be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It'll be
Awesome.
right up your
Right.
alley.
I love it. Yeah, you should just put that on a shirt, Rebecca, and wear it. Be like, this is
Listen,
my
we've been
husband's
talking
book.
about this. We have stuff in the works. I appreciate the encouragement.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Awesome.
Love that.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of people dying in horrible ways, Small Town Slasher, you are, between Hiding Lies and now this book, you really make it hurt when people die. And, that's a really, that is a talent.
Put that on your resume. I really make it hurt when people die. Literally. I mean, through literature.
I don't take a lot of compliments in a lot of the time. Imposter syndrome's a bitch, but I do take that one always when someone says that to me. I feel really good about it. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm like, wow, thank you. I think I am too. Like, it's great.
That's
So,
hilarious.
Small Town Slasher, let us know, what is this book? What are
Yeah, how are you
listeners
pitching
getting
it to people?
into
Right.
when they pick up this book?
Mm-hmm.
Pitch is Small Town Slasher follows Jenna Wilcott, a disabled horror fan who heads to a horror-themed cabin in Woods Bay with friends that she kind of makes there. So she kind of makes this found family of people kind of quick for a winter Friday the 13th weekend. The trip is meant to honor her late partner, but the town's 1999 massacre starts to feel a little too present, and Jenna realizes they may have stepped into a real slasher.
Oh my God.
Love it.
That was a great pitch.
Yeah.
Succinct,
Thank you.
full of, like, enough intrigue and, like,
Uh-huh.
"Okay, let's go."
So, this character of Jenna, early on talks about slashers and how, for some people it might sound strange, but that slashers, especially and specifically, are kind of like comfort watches
I
for
was
her.
just,
And
like, gonna say, but it's kinda like that with true crime and women.
yeah,
Like, watching a slasher can be a comfort.
and it's weird because I've always felt exactly the same way. So I'm just wondering,
Oh.
is that true of you as well as this character? And if so, why?
Yes, those are great questions, and I'm so happy because, like, for me, I planned this series out like when I was working on like changing it up and kind of moving it from the first version, which was a standalone novel, to a novella series. I did it before Widow's Bay came out, but I am so happy Widow's Bay came out because it's Woods Bay, Widow's Bay. I was like, okay, I didn't take the name, guys. I swear. I haven't even finished the show yet. I am savoring it. People are like, what? You haven't finished? I'm like, no, I have 4 episodes left, and all y'all are waiting for season 2, and I'm over here like, I'm gonna watch this when like when I do something really fun or whatever. But for comfort, cozy, I feel even with the gruesome kills in this that it is cozy. That Woods Bay is gonna be creepy and cozy. And for me, slashers are comfort movies because there are rules. There's a killer,
Yes,
there's a pattern, and
yes,
eventually someone gets the chance to fight back. So there's real anxiety is nowhere near that like this like organized piece. So like it gives fear a shape. You can see what the threat is. You can yell at everyone that makes bad decisions and watch someone survive it. And I think that's a big part of her. And like somebody actually quoted like in one of the reviews for Small Town of like a line I say in it, and I don't know, don't have it in front of me, but like it is about that. It's about the fact of like I turn on a slasher and it it's kind of like with the true crime thing too, where it's like, well, my life could be worse. Like when you watch, you're like, these people are in these horrible situations. They get stabbed. They're running for their life. And even true crime, like I was watching a case. I have cases that I'll watch the live case if there's one that I catch when it's the beginning of the trial. And I'm watching this husband. He has 3 dead kids, and he's sitting on the stand talking about it. And I'm just like, my life isn't that bad. Like, so I think that's kind of it, is like with horror and true crime, it's like you look at these people and you don't obviously want to experience what they experience, but you can look at it and be like, wow, I've been through trauma too, and I can see where they're coming from. And I think that is, and Jenna sees slashers as comfort watches for many of the same reasons I do. She understands the rules better than she can understand her own grief or anxiety. And sometimes that is like watching something with that kind of clarity, it kind of takes away from that. And there's like a whole new kind of way of like you are putting yourself forth to get scared. It's like going to a haunted house or anything. Like you are
yeah,
putting yourself out there to do that.
yeah. I have to, like, do an aside here. I've loved all those preparing my Netflix documentary videos that are going around, but the
Yeah.
one that I love the most is Michael Myers on coming in and sitting down, and he's like, preparing for my Netflix documentary, How I Killed My Sister on Halloween Night, because he's like one of the original slashers, and then the Jason's mom,
Oh,
Yup.
Grace
Grace did
Reynolds
that,
did that. Yeah, that was
preparing how
so
my
good.
yeah, it's just, but it's cool how these slasher ones have come in, but to that point is a lot of times there's with a slasher, it's like somebody really has been wronged, or there
Yeah.
is a root of this didn't just happen. Like people become very violent because there was violence, in their life early on, some form of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Absolutely.
So there is something very cathartic about watching someone get that revenge, even if it's fairly gruesome and rough.
Yeah.
I know we were watching the newest Mortal Kombat the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm not like a big scary movie watcher, like I'm a chicken, like I like to read my scary stuff, but some of the kills in there of like them going across like a blade and some of these, and I was like, okay, oh right, this is really bloody.
It's basically a slasher
Mm-hmm.
It is
movie.
like a
Yeah.
slasher
Mhm.
adventure movie
Yeah.
through fighting. So I think that that's kind of where I was going with this, Adam, is like this format I think can be fun to be played with and looked at, but then you can see why even if it deviates a little bit, it still follows the same rules. And those, and to your point, Stephanie, like having those rules makes it a comfort piece.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, so what are some of your go-to slashers for, in
For
the book, obviously Scream is in here. What kind of are your specific ones that when you're like,
Are you asking books or movies?
movies?
Okay.
My favorite comfort slashers are Scream 4, which is controversial. A lot of people don't like Scream 4. It's my favorite one besides the original. I know. It's suburbia. Like that's the other thing
The
for me. Like
Furby.
slashers, I like them in suburbia. I don't know why. Like it's my favorite kind of slasher. Cause like that's probably why. Because I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream very close together when I was like 15 or 16. So and I lived in suburbia growing up. So like the ones that are in cities, they don't really hit me as much because I don't live in that kind of area. So when you live in a kind of area where your house could get attacked, or like the strangers, when we just showed up because you were home. That's it. That's their only reason. So sometimes there isn't a
God.
reason. They just want to
You're right.
kill, and that's even more terrifying because it's random. My other but like rewatchability, Scream 4, Halloween H2O, and Freddy versus Jason. Because I love the time period those came out. And I mean,
Mm.
of course, like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, but at that point I'm just saying every line of the movie. But for these ones, I just really like to rewatch them. And there are some amazingly beautifully gruesome kills in Scream 4. I just really enjoyed that. So, but like for you mentioned like in Small Town, the Scream franchise, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Hush was actually what started the whole idea. Mike Flanagan with Kate Siegel in it, and because she's deaf and she is in this beautiful cabin where she's writing, and she's deaf, so it's all about her surviving this one person. And he has I think he only kills one or two people in the movie, but like he has these slash marks on his weapon, so you know he's done it more than once. And I really like that. But I like the idea of having a disabled protagonist. It was the first time I think I had seen one in a really long time, if ever. It was so part of the story. She used her disabilities to succeed. And I really I grabbed that idea of that, like, okay, home invasion, she goes away, she's in a cabin in the woods. Then I started writing that part without an outline because I'm an idiot, but now I'm not an idiot. I outline everything now because I don't want to have to rewrite another book for a year and a half like I did this one. Now that I've been outlining, I'm getting through stuff a lot faster and I'm getting like the story. And I have to always shout out to Brian McCauley because he told me outline, outline, outline. And I was like, maybe I will. I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I should have done that. So when I outlined it the first time, I had just written this part I really wanted to write, and it ended up being like 50 or 60 pages. I was like, well, that's not going to be a book. What do I need to do? So I had to
Uh-huh.
get her to the cabin because on screen, having one person alone in a home and with one person outside the whole time, it's great. But in a book, I just felt like it was going to drag to do
Okay.
like all in one location with one other character. That's kind of hard because they're not even talking to each other. So really, you're just writing the screenplay descriptive, which Stephen Graham Jones has done that, so I could have done that, but I didn't want to. So then it kind of went to okay, maybe like anniversary kind of thing, which I know a lot of people kind of put their own spin on that. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And 1999, late 90s, early 2000s, I'm really into like nostalgia. So I'm
Yeah.
always going to try to bring that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with all three of my books that are finished, there's Polaroids in all of them. And that is on
Amazing.
purpose. Ken asked me that when he was reading I Wish I Was a Vampire. He was like, "You had a Polaroid in Small Town too, and High Life." And then I'm like, "Yep." So if you really enjoy things like Easter eggs of horror, but also like I will redo a line to like half quote like a song that I love. Like if there's like a
Nice.
part of the song, I'll put that in. But for Small Town, like that was kind of where I was going with it and how I kind of pulled that stuff together.
Right. Well, I want to jump back to your comment about really enjoying a disabled protagonist. And I think that having that representation and, you know, you've spoken several times about, where you're at as an individual. But I think that's so important to write the truth and also to just be inclusive because it's very realistic that, there's lots of different types of people in the world that, as you said, like they just show up because you're home. There's no reason this couldn't happen and it is going to happen and they're still going to be resourceful and figure it out. So I really enjoyed that. How like, I don't want to say how important, but like how good does that make you feel that you're setting that trend, or adding to the library of people that want to find books that show and represent disabled characters?
It means a lot to me because I think I've it's a constant struggle for me because I am disabled. Jenna is she's me. You know, a lot of her is me. And that's not surprising. I think a lot of authors will either say that or you can just read and be like, yeah, that's probably them. That
Mhm.
part there, that's probably them, you know?
Mhm.
But I think for me, I just really wanted like not just my physical disabilities I have, which you still cannot see, and like I wanted invisible disabilities to shine, and they don't usually. Like you have,
Yes.
like it's either something you see or you know. And I definitely mental health is a disability, so I wanted that to be part of it too.
Oh, you
And
don't.
because and I have had a lot of people like mention like where they say that they can really relate to Jenna, and I that just means so much to me because that means and I may not make every character like that personal, but for that one, I'm like, they relate to me then. And that one's really powerful because she is a lot of me.
That's awesome.
And I think that that is just, yeah, it really means a lot to me. I love when I see, you know, POC and that kind of thing and LGBTQ. And I'm bi, but like, I don't really feel like I could write someone who is fully one way or the other. I like to
Mhm.
write what I know, and that's
Right?
just me. Like I'm gonna write, and then I can still write diverse, but in a way that I can relate to, and that's just my
Right.
own personal preference. I don't know if I'll
Right.
ever like full out do a main character protagonist that's a male, just because I'm not a male. But I do think that like a couple of my characters in this book are gonna come to the next book. So and I really have this kind of idea long wise for like 4 or 5 books at least. So I have
Nice.
ideas in my head for the next few. I hope that
Love
answers
that.
your question.
Yes, yes. And as a follow-up, you brought up about the nostalgia in 1999, 2000. I feel like so many of us just around this time when you're living through that, and it is this, I don't know, it's like this bubble of like amazingness. Like, so to bring that into the books and drive it in, what were some of the key things that you felt like, as you tell the listeners, that you felt were important to include in the nostalgia during that time frame?
Well, I think for this particular book, we I haven't really visited the actual massacre. I'm sure I'm going to do a book on that, which would be set in 1999. But for this one, it's really just talked about. There's not as much like nostalgia, late 90s, early 2000s, except for like the references to the movies that came out during that time.
Mhm.
I have ways of like possibly like putting in like certain themed events that could like be like a themed prom or something later on or in the
Mhm.
next book or whatever. But I think for me it's not necessarily in small town slasher as it is going to be in books in the
In the
future.
other ones. Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it just feels like if you're gonna read a Stephanie Rose book, you should expect some hidden Easter eggs, some,
Mhm.
and eventually you weave together, the some nostalgia, some just like really good empowering characters of like, and Adam said like really good kills. So I think those are like foundationally what you can expect.
Well, and the other thing, just to go off of that, is also that, one part of nostalgia with rewriting this that I definitely will say is that I am very, very much influenced. My writing is cinematic and it is influenced 90% by movies and TV shows versus other books. That's just always going to be me because I do consume a lot of movies and rewatch. I'm watching stuff every day. Um, but I'm also writing every day. So for this, when I rewrote Small Town, I had just started my rewatch of Buffy. And
Nice.
I am kind of creating this Scooby gang of people who are going to be in the next book, who are going to be characters we see for a long time. I don't like the idea of like, hey, okay, I wrote this book, cool. It was really hard for me to pack up Small Town. It's been a labor of love since I think the end of 2024. I think I wrote it in December 2024, and it was supposed to come out, and then it didn't, and then yeah, I don't even know when I when I wrote it now,
You
but I
you were
think
due to
for
give birth.
that, I think that those types of relationships, I just really wanted characters we could stay with characters that are found family. I don't really talk to my family, so I think everyone in my life, whether I don't talk to them often, I consider them friend or family. And I think that's so important for people now. So I think that watching those things really did influence my rewrite as I'm watching things. So it really just depends on what I'm watching too.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I really okay, I want to get into a few things here. One is that, Jenna, before the book even starts, she's really like marked by tragedy and death, right?
Hmm.
And that kind of leaves like a mark on people. And I was just listening, to things about how that kind of, not that it like draws it to you, but once you're exposed to something, it seems like you're more likely to experience it again. And it just seems like obviously, Jenna not knowing that she's going to be like thrown into a situation that's similar to that. And I think that like the fact that she has experienced loss not is a positive thing for her, but I think like when it comes to talking about, disabilities, there's also that resilience that she's trying to, tap into because she wants to like honor the memory of this person and sort of continue working on this podcast and this project that was like their dream together. But then also, it's so painful when that person's not there anymore, too. And I really like how you explore that in Jenna before she even like takes the trip.
Thank you. That really means a lot. When I betaed the second version of Small Town Slasher, I was like, you know what, this time I'm going to outline, this time I'm going to beta. And a lot of my beta readers were like, love it, great. They gave some feedback, but honestly, it was, I don't, she has it on her profile of how to say her name. So I'm sure one of you know how to say it, Tatiana.
Schlody
Schlot
Bonet, yeah.
Schlodibone.
So Tatiana was someone I asked because she has a lot of experience with like formal experience with writing as well. So when she gave me her feedback, it was very different than everyone else's. And at first I was like, oh wow, like I don't know. Like it was just a lot. She gave me a lot of critique, but great, great critique. Like, and she still said she liked a lot of it too, but she's like, why is Jenna going now? Like, why is she going? Why does she have to go there? And I was like,
Mm.
crickets. I was like, oh no. So I had started a found footage novel when I checked into a hotel in Port Townsend, Washington. And while I was there for that weekend, I wrote the beginning of a different story. And it was a girl and her partner died, and all that stuff. So all this stuff that I added in the beginning there to give her a backstory was actually from another story, but it was written so well, I thought, and it did give it a really good motivation. Like, why is she going now? Like, that's a really, and I mean, Tatiana even said, she's like, if you're going for more like pulpy fun horror, you don't have to do that at all. I'm just letting you know that like that's something that you might want to, you might want to add. And I thought about it more and I was like, she's absolutely right. And I'm really glad I listened to her because a lot of what she had to say, I think, has made it a lot better of a book that I am 100% proud of. And I think that was a big part of it.
What is that like? I've heard people, many of the authors that we've interviewed have said, they've worked on their books for a really long time. It was theirs. It's like their baby. And then release day, it's like, okay, it's birthed, it's out into the world. And then it's like some people are like, I can't handle, the critiques or, I don't look. It's not my business anymore. But when you're in beta and you have to read everything, is there a special skin or a certain lens you have to do to like filter through it, when you're saying like you do want a healthy amount of
Hmm.
constructive criticism, but also like how much is too much or like what, you know what I mean? I'm just curious how that process goes for you of how you say, you know what, I am going to accept this or no, I'm not.
Right. I think for me, I'm going to go backwards because you mentioned reviews. So I put the first version of Small Town Slasher up on NetGalley and it got ripped apart.
Okay.
A lot of people liked it, but there was a lot of people that did not. And some of the stuff I was like, I don't really like it was just mean. It wasn't even like I like seeing reviews if they're like critique. I like this, but this could be improved. That I can always handle. I was always a kid in school that you needed to sandwich compliments between critiques with me. That's what I always say. Like, give me a small compliment, give me a big, gruesome critique, and then give me something else that I can work on. So it's happy. It's like, like
Yeah.
It's
so for the reviews, it was really hard. So I took it down And then I was like, okay, maybe this isn't good yet. And Tatiana was also like, I don't think you can quote all those movies in the beginning. And I'm like, I thought because I'm like referencing, like I'm thinking my reference brain. Like, well, I said what it was from though. But I don't want to, don't want to get sued. So I took those out. That was why I took those out, because I just wanted to err on the side of caution. I have two quotes now in the front that are some of my favorite, and that's fine. And then when the beta came around, and it is hard as an indie author to not read reviews. I have to read reviews because I have to make my own graphics with those reviews. So what I
Mm,
usually do now is I just, as soon as I get to Goodreads or Storygraph or whatever, I just click on fives or fours. I don't even look at anything else. I try not to now, because for me, I have thin skin. It's hard. I am getting way better though, because I've realized, like, just kind of bringing in my library background, is that for every book its reader is one of the laws of library science. So, like, my book might not be for that person, but it's for this person over here that loved it. And this person thought it was too meta and they hated that I talked about Scream so much. And there's a lot of people doing posts like that. And I'm going to do one of like, you should not read this if you don't like, or one of those kind of posts. So
Yeah.
I think that that's been really helpful. With the beta feedback, I give them a set of questions so I know what I'm asking for. They can give other comments if they want, but
okay.
mostly I'm looking at the questions I've asked. So I usually
That's
send about
good.
10 or 12 questions, because a lot of people that do beta, some of them are authors who've done it before and some of them have never done it. So they
Mm,
really do like to have questions. I betaed I Wish I Was a Vampire as well. And so, like, I think that for both of those experiences, there was some stuff that I was like, I don't agree. Or I usually beta 5 to 7 people. So it's majority rules. If one person's like, you need to change this, 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 but no one else says it, unless it was Tatiana, because Tatiana had like a background where it made sense. And I think actually one other person was like, I really don't know, why is she there? Like, why does she have to be there? I was like, more than one person said that. But for somebody who maybe says a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, and then everyone else doesn't see that, I'm going to go with the group. So that's kind of how I treat it. It's like a focus group for me.
yeah, I think you answered the question that I didn't actually ask, but wanted to
Okay.
actually ask, which was, how do you approach it? And you answered it by saying, I send out the same questions to all of them.
Hmm.
So it was like,
Yep.
I think in my head, I was like, wow, how do you just like take all this in? I just thought you just sent the book and then you just wait for their response. So this is a
No.
much more organized, and now you can actually like aggregate responses based on those questions. So thank you for explaining it. I was always curious
Of
how that worked
course.
with beta.
I love that more authors, indie authors, podcasters, whoever, are reaching out to me, because I've always said, like, I've made a lot of mistakes in this field, but I'm learning a lot through that. So I want to share what I've learned. Like, hey, I stumbled and I fell, but I picked myself back up and now I have a way better book and
Mhm.
other books coming out soon. Like, it's just really exciting. And it took a lot of work to get it where it is. So it is a very emotional book for me.
Yeah.
So as you were saying, like, when I was packing it up, I think I've packed up about 40 or 50 orders now, because they came a couple days ago. So I have to limit myself to so many a day 'cause of my energy levels. But I
Mhm.
think that for me, like packing up the first one, I decided to personalize all of them, not just like I put signed
Mhm.
copies on there, but I actually personalize each one, because maybe I won't always have time to do that. Maybe I'll be so big that I'll just have to send book plates or something. But I think that it's really fun to do that. But I also just like, because the book means so much to me. And
Right.
I think David Cronenberg said it to Charlie XCX recently, like in an interview, he said it, and then she included it in one of her songs on her new album. And it's something like, somebody will come up to you, and I mean, this doesn't happen to me because obviously I'm not a huge director or artist, but like someone will come up to you, and I had my first in-person event ever, and somebody did this
Okay.
exact thing, and they said, this part, the beginning of Hiding Lies, helped me so much. That's how I feel about life sometimes, and you just helped me so much. She was more emotional about my book than I was,
Mm,
because I've let go of Hiding Lies. I'm so done with that. Like, I rewrote it last September, but I had wrote the whole thing like 9, 10 years ago now. So for me, Hiding Lies is more hers than mine now. And that's okay. I love that. So
that
I
is
think for
true.
me, I said, like, thank you. That means a lot to me. But I also know that, like, now that I'm putting Small Town Slasher out, but it made me feel a little less sad, because I am bringing these characters back. I think it's really sad when you write a novel and then we never get to see those characters again. It's kind of like a movie. You're like, oh, I wish this was a show, or oh,
Yeah,
it's a show, but it's only a mini series. Can we have another season? Kind of thing.
absolutely.
So because I consume so much media, I just really had this idea of like, well, maybe a series. I mean, I'm doing a series for Twisted Tales. I could do my own series here, and that would be really fun too. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You fall in love with certain characters, or you really love them, and you love to see how they develop and change over the series. So I think that's super fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And when we talk about slashers and characters that we've created, we all know that when we talk about most of these like franchises, especially Halloween is Michael Myers, Scream is Ghostface. So we're talking about creating that villain, that slasher. How did you approach creating yours in this book, and what kind of like pieces did you want, especially the killer to have?
Yeah, to represent.
Yeah, I think for me, I had this idea of having. I don't want to pull a Tom Holland in like a press tour where I like spoil something, so I'm just trying to give myself give myself a second to not So, the Woods Bay Slayer, uh, like the original Woods Bay Slayer, he had a lot going on, and he had like things happen, and he just kind of lost it. And I think that bullying is something that I kind of tackle in my child middle grade horror, but I also like one of the reasons why he turns to that is because he's really badly bullied. And it's not talked about a lot in it, but it is there. And I think that that was a really important part of like where he didn't feel helped enough. And I
Right.
think that and I probably will explore his story more when I go back to that year. I'm sure I'll do it at some point, and I will talk about that more there. But for this one, I just really wanted it to be like this happened in the past. Okay, so that means something's at least if there is more than one killer, at least one of them might be connected to him. Who knows? Or it could just be someone who the anniversary is coming up and it's just like that's kind of a formula of slashers, of my favorite slashers. Of course that happens in Scream, but I didn't want it to be like exactly Scream. So I was like, okay, well, what could I do with it? So I kind of went with that. And then with his mask, it's kind of like it reminds me a little bit of the mask in Hush, which is kind of just like a very simple, expressionless mask, which to me is very unsettling. And
Yes.
then having like streaks of like dried, like rust red color on it. I thought that was really cool too. I'll probably get a mask and kind of make it my own at home, just like so I can have one for it when I like want to do fun stuff like promo stuff. But I think I mean, it's really like creating the lore of the town kind of helped that as well. And the lore of the town, I just really wanted it to be a town before I show I want people to get to know the town and the people there. And I just I was interested in like this way real tragedy gets repackaged. People tell stories about it, they visit the location, they listen to podcasts, and they stay in a horror themed rental connected to what happened, but they didn't know. So I think all of those things, like we learn about the town and what the Woods Bay Slayer, the original one, kind of went through of just like this kind of small town mentality.
Yeah, and with the rental, it kind of touches a little bit on the sort of like dark tourism and that kind of thing of like, Jenna doesn't know the lore of the town, just that it's a really cool, horror themed rental that, they were going to and everything, or doesn't know that, things might be starting up again at least. And so it's really interesting though, because I think of myself and I'm like, looking at ads for like a, former mental institution in West Virginia. I'm like, oh, I'd love to go there, and it's just thinking like that it's such a really cool thing. I love because most slashers that I think about, Scream, Halloween, maybe like the ones when they go to camp are a little bit different, but generally it is like in that person's town, like they're in their comfortable setting.
Hmm.
I
Right.
love that you took Jenna out of her comfortable setting and she's kind of having to figure out where she is, who's safe, who's a friend, all those kinds of things. So
Hmm.
I love that. And why was that so important, to kind of bring Jenna out like that?
I think I just wanted to show that she could be, she has complex PTSD, she's disabled, she has all these things that she struggles with a lot, and for her to make this brave thing to go here. And I also I think for her specifically, I really wanted to show, and some of the people in early reviews were like, "That's not realistic." I'm like, "Maybe not for you, but for me it is." And like for the way she like just talks to people, like I am agoraphobic and I have a lot of social anxiety. But you put me in a situation where I have to talk to people, or I'm just gonna start motor mouthing. That's what I was called in school. I was a motor mouth. Like I just talk a lot when I'm nervous. So yes, I would get in an Uber with someone who I didn't know and start chatting with them. I was just in an Uber like a few weeks ago because I had to go somewhere and I don't drive often on my own unless my partner's with me. And we were chatting the whole time, like, and he probably, and I was thinking about this in that ride of like, if I said, "Hey, can we stop here for some food?" Would he stop? Yes, he would, because he's still charging me. Like, I just don't think that especially in a smaller town too. I've been to a lot of small towns in Washington and Oregon, and that's where Woods Bay is kind of a creation of a lot of different places I've been, and
Hmm.
that's why I changed it. Like, I just picked a town in Montana, and I looked at the weather, and I was like, okay, this can work. But then when I rewrote it, I'm like, I should write it for places I've been and that I want to travel back to so I can write it even better, not a place that I might not be able to go to because of my health. So Woods Bay is kind of 5 or 6 towns I've been to that I have fallen in love with,
I
and I
love
think
that.
that that kind of helps her going there too. Is like having those people that you can rely on, people even if they're strangers at first. At least some of them will be quite helpful for you, and I think it just gives people a chance that they can find comfort in small towns.
Yeah, it's funny because I grew up in a big city, and I think that I can think of multiple occasions where I've been places and doing things, and all of a sudden you're in a group with people that you didn't know 2 hours ago, and you're all talking and you're doing stuff and you're going places. Like, that
Right.
just, like, happens, especially, like you said, like, to me, definitely, if you feel uncomfortable and you feel, like, awkward, like, you I have a similar thing where it's like, I'll either be completely silent or completely the opposite, like, there's no in between.
Jenna does both. Jenna
Yeah.
does both. She has moments in the theater later in the book where she's off to the side, and I didn't want it to be this big deal because if you get to know people, you have to advocate for yourself. And it's hard to if people don't know when you're like, "Hey, I need like 10 minutes by myself now."
Mhm.
And she does that by letting them know like I'm going to go record, I'm going to go over here. And like one of them even says like, "Oh, she's fine. She's just doing whatever they say. She's doing one of her journal entries or something for the podcast." And I think that's important, to let people know because in even now, it's still not normalized enough to talk about mental health. We are in a crazy world right now, and it is a nightmare. And more people are getting depressed, and especially at our age, in like people's 30s and 40s, they're starting to know like, hey, I've had ADHD my whole life. I've been autistic my whole life, and I didn't know. That's what I found out. I'm on the spectrum, and I didn't know that as a kid, but I know it now as an adult, and it's helping me kind of navigate my life a little bit better. And I think that that's kind of what Jenna is doing too.
Yeah, like, I really love that. That's such a great way to put it. I think that it's really also cool. I think that the way that you show, just because it's a small town doesn't mean that it's not progressive in ways too, right?
Hmm.
Because the characters that you talk about in this book are very, progressive in views. They're not like, in a lot of things, I think about like Wrong Turn or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the locals
Right?
are scary, and that kind of thing. And it's like, these are really cool
The
people. I
backwater
would want to
town.
be friends with them.
Yes.
Right. And I think because I don't have that many friends, because I am so isolated at home, I really am trying to do more podcasts and to do like a buddy read here and there with someone who I'm friends with online because I don't get to see them in real life. And, I think that that is something where I kind of created these characters of like these would be friends I would want to have. And they are, when I am writing it, they are my friends. They're with me. And that's a really beautiful thing.
It is. Now, I do have to say you do some really mean things to these friends that you, like, are talking about, though, in this book, and I forget what it was. It was something that I was thinking about that felt similar to me to this, that, like, you know, you do as a horror fan and as a slasher fan, you look forward to the kills. Like, you're like, "Okay," like, especially when they're creative, and you do some things in this book that are pretty damn creative when people get killed or just, like, stunningly brutal, I think is the words I would say to some of them. But I have to say, like, the way that put it in the book, like, whenever I saw italics, I was like, oh shit, buckle up. So I love that you kind of did that. And it is almost like a literary way of doing the like Giallo or, Halloween POV, like in a written way, which was really cool.
That was inspired by Last Final Girl from Stephen Graham Jones. He wrote that
Hmm.
book completely different than anything I'd ever read. It's written kind of like a screenplay. And some people hate it, some people love it. And I wanted to do that, but obviously I didn't want to do it for the whole book. But I wanted you to be able to see the killer. And if it's not from the POV, because hiding lies, I get to do that because it's a dual narrated. And I didn't want to do a full dual narrated for only a novella. I think that's a bit hard to do. So I just thought, okay, let's do it. And that is funny because like I do use italics just to make it really clear to people, like, okay, we're changing. And once you see it a few times, you get it. And that. I'm glad that you get that because I want people to be able to not be like, wait, what are we doing now? Like I want them to be like, oh, okay, I'm with the killer now. I'm with a victim because and that's something it's hard. I think I'm just gonna give myself a little pat on the back. I think it's really hard in a book. That was a very big challenge for me to still create suspense for the reader when they know that person's going to die. You
Yeah.
don't usually know right away in a book as much as you know in a
Mhm.
movie for a
Right.
slasher.
Right.
So I really wanted that. Like you see this person, they're probably gonna die or they might die. I mean, not everyone dies that gets into
That's
the
true.
italics.
That's a good point.
So yeah, never
Yeah.
know.
That's really funny. And very, very true. I think that, one other thing too, it kind of reminded me, and stay with me here, it'll make sense, I promise. But Jackie Chan talked about like in his movies, you usually watch like a kung fu movie and they like are just like wailing on each other, right? And Jackie Chan said like when he started making movies and like being able to make decisions, it was really important to him to show moments where it was obvious that it hurt. That like he
Yes.
did this giant jump or they had this fight and then they'll stop for a second and he'll like wave his hand or he'll like, hold something or whatever. And I think that, similarly in like slashers and horror movies, like sometimes the gore and the violence becomes like cartoonish or video game-ish. Whereas in this book, like when someone gets hurt, it hurts. Like it hurts them, it hurts the reader reading it. And it seemed very similar to that, where it's like, this book is not Nightmare on Elm Street. This is grounded in reality. Like these are real people
Mm-hmm.
having these injuries happen, and they have to deal with it the rest of the book then once they have that injury, right?
Right. And I mean, for me, the kills are fun to write because I see them really visually. I think about the location, the timing, what the reader sees, and when they finally understand what's happening. And I think that's really fun. And there's definitely like certain things I see in like a movie, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write that. That's so gross. That's a horrible kill scene. Or I'll be like, yeah, I want to do the scratches on the cement in the pool, and my partner's like, and I'm like, see, that's why it's gonna go in because if it makes you uncomfortable, that's what I want. You know, things like that. I really like it, and I didn't want it just to be stab stab. Like it's got to be more than that, or it's just gonna get boring.
Yeah. And I would say, I think it's the second kill in the book, the middle aged man.
He was my favorite because
That is,
I pictured a politician. Like I just pictured all the politicians that I hate right now, and I wrote it for that. Like I really do. And in Roadkill Revolution tour, that's extreme horror. So I
yes.
went a little farther. And I also, it's a very political horror book, and I won't ever write anything like that again because it was very, very hard for me to write, and I
I was
don't
gonna
care
say,
if
was it
that's what
like
you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I want to
rage
write.
inducing? Like in a constant state of
Yeah,
rage?
Yeah.
yeah. It's like K-pop Demon Hunters meets Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin.
Oh my.
Okay, I keep seeing that book. I haven't read it yet. That's the one that looks like it has 2 peaches in a sack, like a ball bag?
Is the
Looks
cover.
like
Yeah.
a nest on the cover. I think I thought nest, a
That's
nest.
cuckoo.
Oh, that's Cuckoo. Right,
Yeah.
Manhunt. You're right. I had
Yep.
them confused. Sorry.
Yep. No, they're both
But
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple scenes in that one that I was like, oh, that's so gruesome. I love it. You know, just
I'm like,
like
the one with the ball bag. Sorry.
Well, if you read the book, yes, that's exactly what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, but the cuckoo one does look gorgeous, or not, like really
It's a
cool
great
too,
book
though.
too. Yeah, yeah, it is really good. But no, that I like that kill is nightmarish. Like to me, like I don't know, it's like just stab me and get over with that what happens there and I'm not gonna spoil it is so much worse and take it, as a compliment. That was some sick shit, you know?
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I love that. One other thing that I really love, and I don't think enough like books or movies do it, is setting like horror, like especially like set pieces and things like that in frickin' movie theaters, man. Because I think about like just a few that really did it well and stuff like that. And so I love that whole section in this book, and it's towards the end and everything, and just really like what is more inherently scary than like a dark room, right? And it's like,
Yep.
you just nail it with that scene.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I think for someone I know, the one that came to mind immediately was Cicada by Tanya Pell. She really did
Yes.
a good job with the theater. That was a great novella with a theater very much a big part of the story.
Yeah, and I think, growing up in the video store era, Popcorn was a movie that was really formative for me, and that's one that I think of that has, some great theater moments as well as like The Tingler and The Blob. You going?
Cannot wait for you to read Werewolf Summer. I'm done with the outline, and one of the main parts of what they're going to be at is a video store. They're bringing back a video store
Nice.
in the town.
Love that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so definitely gonna have some stuff in it. And I worked in a video store in high school, so a lot of the places that are in the book, if it had to be like just like described really well, my partner worked in a movie theater in Rhode Island when he was growing up in high school and I think early college. So I he helped me with like the descriptions for the theater and the projection room especially. I really wanted it to be like I wanted you to feel like it was there. I'm like I've never been in a projection room, but he had. So he was like research for me too of like is this like what kind of canisters are up there? Like what are they
Yeah.
heavy? Like what are all those things like I don't know. Like a small
Mhm.
theater is going to run it very differently than like a chain theater. So I wanted to make sure I captured that and I could see the hallway and I could see like the hallway and going into the theater and the projection room. I could see it all and I'm really glad that you could too.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend when I was in school. His father was a projectionist, first for a like really small independent theater and then a really huge like chain theater, but it was like in a one screen movie palace like old theater and then
Hmm.
another independent theater after that. So like we would sometimes it wasn't like very often, but he would let us in and we did get to go up to like the projection room and stuff. So it was yeah, it was very cool to read those things. Got to see some weird movies because of that.
That's
So
so awesome,
yeah.
though. It's like
So cool. Yeah.
equivalent of like a kid that loves planes getting to go up to
Well,
see like the pilot
yeah.
cockpit. You're like,
It was
no,
all
no, no. I want to see the projection room.
oh yeah. And it was like, all the way
Honestly, like if I ever get any kind of like big tour, like ever, if I ever become that big or if I have a place nearby, like I really want to pitch like having an event where the bookstore, whatever bookstore I would be at, they do offsite events sometimes. I would
yeah.
love there to be an offsite event at a theater and we like watch a movie together after
It's not that
I like sign
expensive to
books and
like,
talk about it.
yeah,
It's
it's not
not.
that
It really
expensive to
isn't.
rent it out.
Well, over
I'd be
by
like,
us
I'm just
though.
having like a really big birthday party. It's not an event.
Yeah, they
Like,
do that in Doylestown sometimes, like where they'll have, the movie screenings with the authors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that yeah, definitely. I'll never forget that one they were doing midnight movies. So I saw Evil Dead 2 and Suspiria through that at midnight, which was two
That's so cool.
fantastic experiences. And it's funny because it's like, I was what? I was 13 when Scream came out. I had to beg and got my mother to take me to see Scream. And then the
Oh my
next
gosh, you
year,
got to see it
yep,
in the theater?
I
Oh,
saw it 3 times in the theater.
yeah, you know
Um,
why? Because on average, the first time and the second time, you always say you're not really sure how you felt about
well,
these
it was
movies.
funny
So you
because
have to see it 3 times.
Scream
you're right.
Scream was sold almost like not correctly at the time. Like,
What do you mean by that?
Like Jennifer's Body, where they just sell
yeah,
it as like
it
something
wasn't quite
completely
that.
different.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Yeah,
that
I get
bad,
it.
but it was sold like at least for me as a much more straightforward horror. It did talk about like the trailer has like oh there's rules to live by whatever. But the first time I saw it I was like I don't know what I'm watching 100%. You know what I mean? Like I was
It
like
was groundbreaking. It was
yeah, I was like
groundbreaking for
all
slashers
I
and for the genre.
Yeah, I was like, all I know is I want to see it again. And then like, I
Right.
saw it and then like the next year my birthday's in October, so like I Know What You Did Last Summer came out my birthday weekend and then
Are you a Libra?
Scream. Yes.
Yeah, you
Yep,
are.
October
Uh-huh.
19th.
I
Yep.
thought so. I'm a
Yep.
He's
Libra
like,
too. Yep.
And then
mm.
Scream 2 came out like right at Christmas and I'm just like this is like the best time to be alive right now. Like it was wonderful.
I had
So,
parents that did not let me go to it, and I was 15. Thank you very much. I had
ah,
to sneak the video home once it got home, and then I watched it while my parents were out, and I was babysitting.
well, that
That's
was
how I first
miserable
saw
because
it.
that was the days when it took because it was I distinctly remember it coming out on video in June. It took 6 months
Yep.
like to come out, and everything back then. It wasn't like what is it,
Remember, it was a
8 weeks
super
now
hot
or
day
something like
too.
that? Yeah, yeah.
By the
So
end of me watching it, I had a butcher knife and next to me, and I had checked
yeah,
all the windows of the house. I was so scared, and it was so
yeah,
awesome.
my parents were like definitely not did not give a crap because I went actually I think the first I saw Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers in theater. So I would have been like 11 at that point. I think it was
Wow.
90, yeah, it was like the
That was
year
like you and your
before or
mom's
something like
bonding
that.
time.
Yeah, it was definitely yeah, I went to see a lot of like if it was
Love
a
that.
mid like from 95 to like 1, I pretty much saw every horror movie in the theaters that came out like that I could.
Jealous.
And yeah, and being in Washington DC was great because like we had weird indie theaters that played, Session 9 and smaller movies that like didn't get like major like nationwide releases. So I had to go to these really just absurdly sketchy theaters to go see like May or House of a Thousand Corpses or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
But you didn't mind. You really like that. I
I
think
mean,
you're a
I think about
you
it
love a
now.
theater as a connoisseur
Yeah, I love
of
a
the weird shit.
liminal, a
Mm,
weird.
you
Well,
do.
my favorite, like the third time I saw Scream, it was when it was in like the discount theaters,
Those are
and
great.
well, this discount theater was the basement of
Oh,
a office building, and it was
uh,
really weird because it was split into like two sections of the basement,
uh,
and like one section like
do you want a
was
ticket for the left side of the screen or the
well,
right side of the
no,
screen?
no. Once it was like 10 screens, but they were all like the size of a laptop. But like,
No.
yeah, they were tiny. But like
It's
the one
crazy.
side, yeah, the one side was like the box office and the food and all that kind of stuff, and it was like relatively normal once you were in that section. The second one, you had to go up this weird ramp. It was like the other four screens, and no one was there.
Okay, here's the thing. Is this was this independently owned?
No, it was a major. It was like basically, I think Regal ended up buying
Was
the
this like is
chain.
like retail space or commercial space like that coveted down there that they would be like, "We
Yeah,
can make this work."
yes, it was in Georgetown. Yeah,
Uh, okay,
yeah.
so it wasn't like in a creepy area of town.
It was by the canal though, like, you had to go
Oh.
off the
Oh,
main
yeah,
street
okay,
to
well, it's
go
pretty
down, yeah.
empty down there.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it was yeah,
Okay.
you
We
it
we had a star theater for us. We had a star theater, but then we did. I just thought of it when you were saying that. We had a discount theater a few towns over, not a good area. But it was inside of a mall, and it was $1.50 per show, and
yep,
it was like
Best.
three or 4 weeks before DVD is when
yep,
you'd get it. You could
Hell
see it there.
yeah.
So that was really cool. Like I didn't like the clientele that went there wasn't great. Like a lot of them were just like kids or like parents with families. They would bring them to inappropriate movies and kind of stuff. So it's like I've always been, it's really hard for me to go to theater because unless I know like I went to see K-pop Demon Hunters after I saw it at home to do the sing along
the
at the
sing
theater
along,
because that was
yeah,
really fun. And
yep,
I did Billie Eilish in the theater because again, it was like super cool to see her like 3D. It was just
right,
fun because I can't really go to shows. So I think it's hard for me to go to theater, but we have a massive, beautifully large television. So I am very happy I purchased that
yeah,
during COVID,
Yep.
and it really is it's great for movie nights at home. So
I
yes,
that's
got
good.
my eye
Yeah.
on this. We rarely, if ever, go into Walmart because both of you and I are just, like, kinda overly
yeah,
stimulated by it,
no, no, thank you.
but we had gone in and, they had a 110-inch
Screen,
television
yeah,
screen, and I was kinda like, "It's not about the price, it's like the, 'Oh, damn, how am I getting this home?'" Like, I think
yeah,
we'd probably have to rent, like, one of those, like, Lowe's or Home
that's when you
Depot,
pay
like,
for the
box trucks.
delivery,
Sure,
yeah,
yeah, but we used to have, like, a full projector during COVID
yeah,
down in our basement,
mhm,
but I think, like, I'm partial now, and you've been, like, eyeing up the big screens for a while, but there is something so freaking wonderful about having a sound system, And having the theater set up at your
Turn the
house,
lights off and
especially for
just
me, I like to put the subtitles on.
mhm.
I like to be able to pause it so I can go to the bathroom, whatever.
Yeah.
Get a snack.
Yeah. If I'm falling
I
asleep and
know
I'm
your
like,
cats are gonna
shit,
get famous, but your cats are awesome. My cats are awesome. You can't take cats to the theater.
you
I
know
So
what?
know.
You're damn right. And that's a big deal because we love our animals. So I
Yes.
love that. I just want to say this has been such a tremendously fun conversation.
Yes.
I would love to hear a little bit about how you plan to celebrate and where you'll be at or not at. Or I know you've already packed a lot of things, but where can they pre-order? What can we do to support? And what's a release date look like for you?
yeah, so deathbytbrbooks.com if people want a signed copy with one of our woods-based stickers. But any place that you get books from, you can totally get it from. I encourage people to do that. I encourage people to check with their local library to order it because that helps too. My week is really exciting actually next week because I'm virtual. I finally just did an event for Heidi Lies and now I'm like I think I can maybe do an event and I might have an event in the Pacific Northwest for I wish I was a vampire. It's not confirmed yet, but I'm very excited about that if I get it. But for me for Small Town Slasher, it comes out on August 4th and next week I will if the people can go to the link in my bio on my Instagram. Also, I believe it's on my website. I am having a virtual launch party for Small Town Slasher with the New York Public Library at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, on release day. I am very excited to have that. It's so great. And then on Wednesday, I'm recording a podcast. I don't think it's coming out that day though. But then I'm like nerding out. I have to like calm myself down before this, but I have an Instagram live next Thursday at 4 p.m. PST with Paulette Kennedy.
We love
Oh,
Paulette.
Paulette, amazing. That's great.
I
That'll be 7 o'clock
finally
our
read
time, so we'll
Devil
be
and
able to see that.
Mrs. Davenport, and I'm like, how did I not read this before? I love it so much.
Isn't that it's so
So
freaking it is
it's
the
so
best.
good.
And I just love her
It's not
little
horror
graphic of
though. Like it's
in
not horror.
conversation.
Like it is horror, but it's not. So it's like it's one of these things where it's gotten promoted, and a lot of people I know like it, but they're like, I would have liked it more if it was just like it's in the horror genre adjacent. It's like one of those like it's lit thick with horror elements to me because she's
Yeah.
her writing is like way up there, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. I just think that like it was marketed really like hardcore horror, and I don't really feel like it's exactly that, but I it's very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I have just read a lot of good for you, like good for her kind of stories lately. And I'm just like a couple
Yeah.
arcs I got and everything. Like I'm just so excited about that. So yeah, so I have an Instagram live with her next Thursday, and that's kind of what I have planned for release week. I'm just gonna probably pass out after that for a few days because
You
I have
just
to
did a
send a
really
lot of
cool
books out
panel
still.
for you just did a really cool panel for TBR Con too, right? The final girl
Yeah, you did.
No, it's on
was that
Friday. I'm
oh,
very
on
Like
nervous.
it's
Friday.
coming
Yes.
Oh,
up.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
thought
mean I saw
okay.
the graphic
So
and
it's
you're with some
I
okay.
cool
didn't realize. Yeah.
people.
So that's cool
Yeah,
too.
it's this
Awesome.
Friday. Oh
Okay.
yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool, cool, cool. I'm on a panel with I'm sorry, Stephen Graham Jones. When they messaged me, I'm like, is this real
Who's
life? Are
that?
they serious? What? I was like, what? Me and Michaela Randolph were just like, what? We were like talking to each other, like, are you fangirling? I was like, yeah, I totally am.
Yeah.
I'm like,
We
okay,
love
because
Michaela
this is
too.
Yes. Her book's
wild.
so good
Yeah,
too. Not Your Final Girl is such
I
a
need to
good
read
book.
it. There's no
It's so
audio, and I'm
good.
like, but I need to get it. I'm gonna make those a priority for my fall because when I reach fall, I decided after I had kind of a really really rough depression, anxiety wise, and just my nervous system was on overdrive, and I needed like 2 weeks to recoup. And I'm deciding this year I'm not going to be doing anything other than just like very promoting on Instagram, sure, because I have to, and I hate that I have to, but that's the only way we can sell books now. But I think for me in the fall, I'm definitely going to put aside a lot of time to read print and relax because I don't do a lot of work between September and October. You'll notice like the dates of my open calls for Death by TBR Books and release dates. The only one in the fall is week I Wish I Was a Vampire September 15th, and then Yuletide, which is almost done now. So like that will just be like I have to ship out orders at that time. But
Yeah.
I'm really trying to hunker down, get done with Werewolf Summer by the end of August, so I can get it into edits while I have my break. And then I usually come back a little bit after January, after Yule, and then I can like resume doing like hardcore work. But I have been trying to give myself more breaks every day, a half day off like every week. Like, just it's really hard for me to do that when you're your own boss. And I
Yeah.
make my own deadlines because like I haven't gotten any deadlines from Trueborn yet. So like that's why I ended up putting out all those announcements of like this book's coming out this day, like Werewolf Summer. I don't have that done yet, but I'm like it's gonna be done because there's a deadline now, and now that's gonna help motivate me and keep
Yes.
me on track.
That
Yeah,
makes sense, and, I have to say I love all the videos and the things that you're making. I know that you've had more of a focus on that, and they're it's a lot of fun. Look forward to
thank
more of
you,
that too,
thank
so,
you.
yep,
I
so
hate it so much. I hate it.
I hear
I
you,
like the
I
fun stuff.
definitely
Like
understand.
when I did like the Charlie video with my sunglasses on, like that's
Yes,
fun. But the other stuff, I'm just like I'm just gonna start throwing up stuff like kind of as a joke of just like I'm not gonna edit this. Like I
you
put up
never
a quick
know.
edit and then I was like, hey, there's 8 minutes of me talking about the book, showing the inside of the book, and just. But I'm like, I don't know where to put that. So I'm like, fine, I'll just upload it here. Maybe I'll just start a YouTube and just put them up
Yeah,
there too and make
you
a quick
never know what's
graphic
gonna
for like
stick.
the image.
Nope.
Yeah, so I just, for me, it's just hard. I really, because I do it all, it's really hard. I can't, like this week, but there's a lot of packing and there's a lot of social media for me to do this week. So then I'm not writing as much, and that makes me mad.
Yeah,
But I am extremely grateful that I am able, like, I don't make a lot of money at all, but I am very grateful that with state assistance with my health, I'm still waiting if I get Social Security, but I get some state assistance, and that has helped me. And with this, now I can be a full-time writer, and that's something. I mean, full-time for me is part-time, but for me, like that's a huge thing.
yeah,
And editor, I'm really proud to be an editor now too. And
it's
I'm so
wonderful.
excited for everyone to read Yuletide Horror for Twisted Tales. Like, it's so
Yes,
good. I have so many
definitely.
great stories in there, incredible people involved, and especially for the people also that just submitted stories versus the invited authors. They're all incredible. So I'm really
Amazing.
excited for that too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to having you back on for, a lot of stuff in the future.
Yeah, you
And
keep us busy, girl. Come on
yeah,
back.
always so much fun to have
I
you.
mean, we
Thank
didn't
you
even
so
get to
much.
half of the stuff we might have gotten
I
to, so
know.
you just let me know. I'm happy to
Yeah,
come back whenever. I love chatting with you guys, whether it's on the show or just like, hey, let's set up a video and just chat. I'm cool with that too. Like
perfect.
I just really enjoy your company, both of you, and
Yes,
I'm so
same.
grateful that I have met you, and I hope to meet you IRL one day. But until then, I love these little
IRL.
chats.
Yep.
They're wonderful.
Love it.
Absolutely. Our found family, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you. I wish you all the luck with this. I love that giant stack of books that's almost as tall as you. Hopefully, it keeps growing,
Thank you.
and just can't wait to see what you have in store for us in the future.
Thank you so much.
Talk
All
to you later.
right.
Have a good
Yep. Have
night.
a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.